What in the world, boys? Your boy Big Low Country. For everybody out there that don't know me, my name is Big Low Country. I'm just old country boy, former football coach that love to sit around and talk about sports. You could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with us, and I definitely and greatly appreciate that. First of all, if you're watching the show after we've gone live already, make sure that you put a what in the world bow in the chat. I would definitely and greatly appreciate that, and I would definitely be responding to you. Also, make sure that you share the channel with your friends and family. If you hit that like button, I promise you, I'm going to dance at your wedding one day. Man, has everybody kind of got their bearings a little bit ever since we've had uh, the schedule release? Because, man, uh, a whirlwind. It's been a whirlwind scenario. I've been talking to everybody who's been trying to get their tickets to go out to Vegas, to go to Denver, to go to Philadelphia, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, um, uh, Carolina for the Panthers game. I've been talking to everybody, and everybody it's full of optimism, good times. We're looking at the OTA videos that are being posted every day, and we're seeing Michael Penix throw darts. We're seeing Kirk Cousins throw catchable balls to Kyle Pitts, and we're seeing the potential of a Darnell Mooney and everything like that. With that being said, with that being said, we had to have a coaches meeting tonight because I just want to talk to everybody about what the expectations are, and I wanted to respond to my good friends Chris Tipmore, A1 Forever. Make sure that you subscribe to my homeboy Chris Tipmore, A1 Forever, and Smitty. Never they did a show last week, but before we jump into it, before we get before we start getting our elbows and our knees dirty, let me go ahead and read some of the comments. I got to show love to everybody, show love to me. Shouts out to my homeboy Mark. Much love to Mark. He says, great question, Lo. I think our expectation is just about right with the offense, and we are our expectations too high with the defense. Man, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Shouts out to my homeboy Tony Wright. Says Big Low is back in town to hold a coaches meeting. You already know it, man. You already know it. Vibing with the Johnsons is in here. It says, yes, y'all are not good. They said, yes, y'all are not good. So I guess, conversation that was going on previously. But he says, yes, y'all are not good. Just because you have a mediocre quarterback and a new coach, y'all D-line is too young, and our offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak, is better. Okay. So, I'm assuming Saints fan, and they're going to try to get back to running the ball. We gonna see how it's gonna go. We're gonna see how it's gonna go. And I know that we're gonna have one of the deepest defensive lines in the NFL moving forward this year coming up. But I mean, you're right. We are young, but we might be young, but we ready to. All right, I'm sorry. Marina's in here. What in the world, Bo? What's going on? Cortez Sherman, what in the world, Bo? Long time. No see everyone. Shouts out to my homeboy Cortez coming in here, chopping it up with the family, with the coaching staff. Sterling Woods is in here. What in the world, Bo? Funeral services. Jay Mall, what in the world, Bo? What's going on with you? Jay Black. Hey man, we doing good, funeral services. Thank you so much for coming in and chilling out with us on a Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening. Much love to you. Tay Bro, what in the world, Bo? Hope you're doing good tonight. Brian Davis, Team Raheem. Said you never. Okay. J Mall, he says, I seen Ken Folk Kirk throwing the pitch. Yeah, shouts out to Cuzzo. He says, won't he do it? Hello. You already know what time it is. Jay Freeze is in here. What in the world, Bo? Shouts out to everybody. Come on, chop it up with us tonight. Shouts out to us. Much love to everybody that's coming in here, chopping it up with us. Now, the question is, and shouts out to everybody that's, that are not the Falcons fans, because we want your opinion, because y'all are giving us your opinion from the outside looking in. But the question is, are Atlanta Falcons fans too optimistic? Are we putting the cart before the horse? Are we doing it? Are we putting the sugar? Well, are we putting the Kool-Aid before the sugar? Are we putting the milk before the cereal? Should I keep going? Should I keep going? Are we putting the ice before the moonshine, or the moonshine before the ice? Anyway, Are we jumping out to conclusions, or are Falcons fans jump to conclusions? Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I've seen, just from being on a few respective shows and listening to a few shows, everybody's giving their schedule predictions and everything as far as what they think the overall record is going to be by the time the playoffs come. I'm hearing 15-2. I'm hearing 14-3. I even heard of 15-1. I, I just want to know, is it going to be one of the situations where, are we shooting too high? I know that in the guidance counselor's office, every guidance counselor had the picture, the graphic, shoot for the moon and you'll land among the stars. Is that what Falcons fans are doing? Shouts out to everybody that's coming in here, man. Um, Dino coming in here. What in the world, Bo? Bryce, much love to you. The Michigan Sports Truth says, "Wow, that's optimistic, eh?" Oh, I mean, call it what you want to, Bo. Vibing with the Johnson says, y'all expecting too much from a quarterback that's new to the division. What if he doesn't work out? You can't bench him. If you do, it'll be crazy. I mean, look. I mean, I'm sure Saints fans. Y'all could tell us from experience. Bringing in a quarterback that's new to the division, who wasn't that good with the coach when he was with him with the Raiders, and bringing them here, and expecting something different, and you couldn't bench him. I know he threw us a pick six. Never, know he played in Atlanta, but I mean, you can tell us from experience. The difference between the Saints and the Falcons is that the Falcons have their backup plan now. We have our backup plan now. Who was the backup plan last year? I mean, Dennis Allen, he didn't want to go with Jameis Winston. Taysom Hill? Like who was the Channing Tatum, Jason Hill? Like who was the who who was the guy that they had to back him up? So I mean, I hear what you're saying, but one thing that I've learned over the years, one thing that ain't gonna lie, the Vegas lines ain't gonna lie, bro. Falcons are favored to win the division. They got us. The bet is at 9.5. I'm saying that we could go 10-6. I'm thinking 10-6 could be a reasonable expectation. But once again, I don't know if y'all heard the beginning of the show. It's one of those situations where I seen one of my colleagues, hashtag Rise Up Content Creators, my homeboy Chris Tilmore, asked another great question like he always does. And everybody in the chat, everybody on the panel, the question he asked was, hey guys, do you think the Falcons would know that they're going to the playoffs by week 13? Everybody in the panel said yes. I'm going to ask everybody that's watching here tonight, and if you're watching a little bit later on, what you think. If you feel like the Falcons know they're going to be in the playoffs by week 13, put a 1 in the chat. If you feel like it's one of them cases where we ain't going to know by week 13, with what's that? With 5 games left, put a 2 in the chat. I just want to know what everybody thinking before I put my soapbox right here and I stand on it. I just want to know. So you feel like we are going, put a 1 in the chat. You feel like we ain't going, put a 2 in the chat. I just want to see how everybody feeling. Also, J Miles said, make sure that you hit that like button. Once again, like I said, if you hit that like button for me, I promise you I'll dance at your wedding one day. One day. Tony Wright, he says, low. I really like the mixture of the youth and experience on our defensive line and linebackers. It's a good thing. We have something that we haven't had in a very, very long time. We have depth, and once again, I said this right after the draft. We're actually going to be able to rotate guys in and out, and we're going to be able to stay fresh, like people who take baths regularly. Before we were people who we weren't too fresh. We were kind of dirty, taking the bath like twice a week. We wasn't that fresh, Bo, but now we're gonna be coming in. We're gonna be fresh. Trying to do it big. Tony Wright, he says, nah, we ain't too optimistic with the new coaching staff and the players that we now have losing is unacceptable. And with Arthur Smith gone, this team will shine. I will say 12-5. Wow. Okay, okay. And look, I ain't mad at that. I ain't mad at that. Dino says Saints fans are talking about winning is crazy. Ooh, man, boy. Bang, bang. Shots fired. Wilder Smith says, what's going on with your coach, Low? I don't think our expectations are too high. Okay, okay. And, that's why I asked the question, because once again, I'm trying to find out what everybody's expectations are, right? We've seen this many times. A lot of times, a group of guys or a group of people, a group of ladies, they'll get together and they'll be like, "Yeah, I think that'll happen. I think we'll know that we're going to the playoffs by week 13." They look over here like, "What you think?" Yeah, I think that's the case. What y'all think over there? Y'all think we'll go? We'll know if we go to the playoffs by week 13. You doggone right. Shoot. And they say, everybody in the room it's a room of 30 people. Everybody's saying, yeah, yeah, because we're gassing each other up. We're gassing each other up. Now, whenever that happened, Big Low, he stood in the corner, put his hand up. He says, "Hey, I don't feel like we're gonna know if we're gonna be in the playoffs by week 13." It was like, Low, no, Low, how could you really? You got to be that one. You got to be the person to say, that you ain't think it was gonna happen. I was like, look, I'm just telling the truth. I can't lie to you to make it sound fly to you, Bo. I mean, if I did, it would be wrong on so many levels. So I had to respond to my homeboy Chris Tipmore. This is a form of making interactive content, and I have to explain why I feel like we won't know for sure if we're going to the playoffs by week 13. So I want to get everybody's votes before we started talking about it. And basically I said if you feel like we are going to the playoffs and we're going to be in the playoffs, we know we're going to be in the playoffs by week 13, put a 1 in the chat. If you feel like it's one of those cases where we're not going to be, or we're not going to know that we're in the playoffs by week 13, put a 2 in the chat. Also, got my homeboy One Time for the Fan in here on his way to 1,000 subscribers. Make sure that you go over there, subscribe to his channel. Great content. Most optimistic. You talk about optimistic fans. This is the most optimistic fan in the world. I tell them this all the time. Homeboy Jack Spade, he says, I have a question. Is there room for another quarterback who can throw 80 on the run? I mean, if there was, it would be my spot, Jack. I don't know why you're asking that question. We haven't seen you throw 80 on the run. Like everybody's seen my feats, but we haven't seen what we haven't seen what you're capable of doing. So I mean, I don't know. I'm confused. I don't understand what's going on. Oh man. Oh, oh. All right. So let me see what everybody's talking about, what everybody's thinking. Will Amy. Shouts out to my homeboy Will Amy down there at Savannah 912. C Pope. J Mall. Jermaine Johnigan, Brian Davis, they all feel like we're going to know that we're going to be in the playoffs, whether or not we're going to be in the playoffs by week 13. They feel like they know what time it is. All right, so my homeboy Anthony White, funeral services, Dr. Slick, Dino, is that Angel or Angel? Angel of mine. I'm sorry, I just had to get that one out. That was always one. I think that might have been my favorite Monica song. When I first saw you, I already knew. Let me stop. Let me stop because I'm pretty sure Uncle Steve he probably listening. There's probably some tears coming out of his eyes, because he wish he could sing like that. They say too. They don't feel like it's one of those cases where the Atlanta Falcons are going to know definitively if they're going to be in the playoffs by week 13. Philip Crawford. Philip Crawford came in here, he put 111 ones. He says, hey, Bo, lock it down, lock and load. We know we're gonna be in the playoffs by week 13. You already know. I was listening to some, I don't know if y'all could tell, but I was cleaning out the garage. I was watching some old school R&B videos, so please forgive me. I'm in a very singy mood. I'm feeling good. Iron Mike, he says too. We don't know that that's going to be the case. Ray 50 says, if we win those first four, absolutely it's a 1. And I'm not mad at that, Ray. I'm not mad at that. Shouts out to my homeboy, Coach Wilder Smith. He said, "No, Coach Lowe. I was on that panel, and I said by week 14." Okay. So Coach Wallace, the cooler heads. Whenever I talk about the cooler heads, Coach Wallace, he's one of them. He says by week 14, he feels like we would know exactly where we're going to be at. Dr. Slick says 5 games left is a little too early. Maybe with 3 games left, and that's the see. You reading my mind. You reading my mind, Coach. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. Think about it, guys. Number one, let's remember something. We got to remember every other team in the NFL, I don't care who it is trying to win every game. Let me say this one more time for the people in the back. Every other team in the NFL is trying to win every game. We watch OTAs. We watch Kyle Pitts catch a 35-yard pass. We watch Darnell Mooney. We watch Drake London. I haven't seen too much of Bijan. We watch Ray McLeod run some out routes. Man, Kirk Cousins, he's throwing the ball well. They showed him jogging. He was looking kind of gimpy. If we keep it a buck now, Kirk was looking kind of gimpy. But we see all of these great things during OTAs. We say, hey, we have a new coach. It's going to be a completely different scheme offensively. Defensively, they're not going to know what's going to hit them. Raheem Morris has so many more weapons defensively here than he had in LA. But that being said, every team is trying to win. This is still the NFL. Every team is a professional team. Every team is a professional team. For example, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We there are things that we have to consider that we might not be considering. For example, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's look at the circumstances. We're going to be playing against Baker Mayfield. A lot of people may say Baker Mayfield doesn't scare me, and you have a valid point by saying that. You have every right to say Baker Mayfield doesn't scare you. But guess what? What Baker Mayfield knows might scare me. You may say, what do you mean by that, Coach Lowe? What team did Baker Mayfield play for the year before last? The Los Angeles Rams. What offense did he learn and had to learn within a couple of days and played Thursday night football and led that team to a victory? The offensive Rams. Who was the offensive coordinator and the assistant head coach for the Rams during that period? Was it Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris? What is one thing that coaches don't really do that much whenever they go from one place to another because they feel like their scheme and their system is far superior than any other scheme and system? They don't change things too much. They don't change things too much, Bo. They don't. Instead of saying apple for a 2 count, they might say blue. But they don't change things too much. Those route concepts and everything are still the same. A lot of times the calls are still the same, which means that those 2 games against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that's something that you might want to call into question. Because as much as Baker Mayfield is going to be in that offensive meeting room, I can almost guarantee you he's going to be in that defensive meeting room as well. Because Baker Mayfield, number one, he just got $100 million. He knows he has an opportunity to get some more. Beating the Atlanta Falcons 2 games this year would definitely help the cause. Monkey Rich in the plan to verify that we're going to the playoffs by week 13. If some freak thing like that happen and we get swept by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Monkey wrench in the whole thing, in the whole system, Bo. It's a monkey wrench. This is what I'm talking about. These are the things that come up during the course of an NFL season that a lot of people don't consider. Justin says 7-10, Bo, again. Bottom 5 defense. Goodness gracious. 2 rookie coordinators. Weak pass protection. This team reminds me of the 2020 Falcons with Raheem Morris, QB and weapons, but no defense and pass pro. Wow. Now, look, we're talking about our Atlanta Falcons fans' expectations too high. this is too low. This is a completely different team than you had in 2020 whenever Steven Means was the starting edge rusher. You had a hobbled Todd Gurley, and your number one wide receiver was a Russell Gage. Completely different situation, completely different scenario, completely different circumstances. Yeah, I can't. Jacob Tatui Mariner, that was our breakout player. Anybody remember Jacob Tatui Mariner? Yeah, that was our breakout player. Ended up getting cut the next offseason because we understood that he wasn't a guy like that. We didn't know we knew that he wasn't going to be a guy that was going to be changing the face of the franchise for the next 6 years. We knew that, but that's just what we had to deal with because that's all we had. You look at that defense, and then you compare um, David Onyemata, who is one of the best run one of the best defensive tackles when it comes to run defense. You got Arnold Ebiketie, who would have been the star pass rusher on this defense in 2020. Brandon Dorless, Braylon Trice, who would have been the star edge rusher on this defense in 2020. Rook Arohoro, who is my breakout player, my breakout rookie for 2024. I feel like he's going to be the guy that's really going to take the next step because he's going to be coming in whenever these guards and these centers are going to be tired. And I mean, athletically, he's just a monster. So I mean, you try to compare both teams. I mean, who Hayden Hurst or Kyle Pitts? Which route are you going? Russell Gage or Drake London? Darnell Mooney or Olamide Zaccheaus? Hobble, Ty Gurley, or Bijan Robinson? Who was the backup running back? I can't even remember. The 2020 backup running back or Tyler Algier? With that being said, it is what it is. Shouts out to my homeboy, A1 Forever. Much love to him. Thank you so much for inspiring this live tonight, Chris Tipmore. Much love to my homeboy A1 Forever. He said he don't like my attitude. I'm just answering your question. You said you said you wanted to answer. I'm just answering your question. Y'all make sure that y'all go to A1 Forever on YouTube. Subscribe to my homeboy. Great Falcons content. You already know what time it is. You already know. Shouts out to my sis, Joy. Says, boo, big money country. What in the world? What in the world, Joy? We already know how you doing it. Shouts out to my sister Joy, aka her little self on Twitter. Just smashing the like button. Hit at the bed. Tell Coach Ronnie I said hello. Much love to you, Joy. I hope you're doing good. Homeboy Ride in here. Millie Mills is in here. What in the world, Bo? What's going on, Millie Mills? Hope you're doing good tonight, fam. Demetrius in here. What in the world, Bo? Hope you're doing good. Definitely. Richard Nelson says, what's up, Coach? What in the world, Bo? Hey, you already know what time it is. You already know. One time for the fans in here, so you know it's a party. A party ain't a party till it's ran all through. And y'all young Thundercats might not know nothing about that. If y'all have heard that song, if you heard that song before, put a 3 in the chat. If you never heard that song, put a 4 in the chat. A party ain't a party till it's ran all through. And listen to my crew, it's gonna be player proof. Y'all see. Like I said, I was listening to some old school R&B, old school rap back when I was cleaning out the garage earlier. So I got, I'm kind of feeling myself. I feel like I'm singing like a whole lot better. I don't know. I was singing Next, Too Close in the garage earlier. I was like, boy, you better chill out. You better chill out. Coming in here singing like that. Smitty says, country, what up? Did you recover from that? See, what Coach Roney, what's Smitty come here? Hey, talking about I recover from the basketball game. I'm good. It's gonna be look, whenever he plays me, whenever I had no moonshine, it's gonna be a whole bunch of slow singing and flower bringing, Bo. Shouts out to my homeboy Molly Mall. He says, y'all put your clothes back on. Come on, Molly Mall. I actually had a chance to hook up with Molly Mall when I was in New Orleans. He came in, Mel was just butt naked. I Molly Mall, you finna get us kicked out of here, bro. Like, put on some socks or something. Like, bottom of his feet dirty. I'm like, come on, Molly Mall, you can do better than that. Oh man, shouts out to my homeboy 3 Dirty. He asked, hey, Big No, did you agree with holding the practices close to the vest? I mean, selfishly, I don't like it because I love to get out and try to interact with the players and see everybody because a lot of times we get a chance to just talk through a screen. So anytime I get a chance to see people who watch the show or watch any of the other Atlanta Falcons content creators, I enjoy it. But I don't know. A Big Low Conspiracy and Larry from the Dixon Way, JR, and our little chat. They were saying that they think they don't think it's just construction. They feel like it's ulterior motives. They feel like it's ulterior motives. So yeah, I mean it's one of those things. Well, okay. So it sounds like pretty much everybody heard a party ain't a party till it's ran all through. And listen to my crew, it's gonna be player proof. Oh, oh man, y'all crazy, boy. Y'all crazy. So the reason why we're having this conversation, I'm gonna go back to it. My homeboy Chris Tip, A1 Forever, Chris Tip Moore. He said, "Hey man, do you feel like the Atlanta Falcons could know that they're going to the playoffs by week 13?" Everybody in the room, besides me and Coach Wallace, we all said no. I'm sorry. They all said yeah. They feel like it can happen. I said no. I said by week 13, you would literally have to be 12-1 or 13-0 because basically you're saying that the San Francisco 49ers don't have nothing to say. You're saying the Detroit Lions don't have nothing to say. You're saying the Philadelphia Eagles don't have nothing to say. Tampa Bay won the division 3 years in a row. We're saying that they ain't got nothing to say. I mean, I know that we have to look at the scenario and the the circumstances that we're given now. I know Tampa Bay's defense is older. I know that. I know that they grossly overpaid Antoine Winfield, and by 2026 they're going to be wishing they didn't do it. They're going to try to come back with their receipt, trying to see if they can get their money back. But for us to say by week 13, I can't get on board with that. Which is why I posed the question: are Atlanta Falcons fans' expectations too high after the schedule release? And I feel like that is the case. Now, you may say, "Hey, though, what other reason would you think? What other reason would you believe that you know our expectations could be too high?" Now, once again, I go back to it. So we're saying that it's one of those cases where if we know that we're going to be in the playoffs, if we know we're going to be in the playoffs by, I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on, I'm trying to plug this thing up. My bad. If we know we're going to be in the playoffs by week 13, that means that we're going to have to make sure that we're at 12-1, 11-2, 13-0, because all these other teams are just bringing it to our front. I mean, all these other teams just ain't doing what they need to do. They ain't stepping up in that regard. Now, with that being said, Jesse Bates, he did an interview today. And Jesse Bates, of course, he said some things that were very, very worthy of sound bites. Now, think about that. They got Jesse Bates speaking as basically the voice of the defense. Knock on. I'm sorry. I don't know why I did that. It's all right, shot. It's okay. It's okay. Knock on wood. That was me knocking on wood. You see, our vicious guard dog. She don't play no games. Um, what happens if Jesse Bates gets hurt? the leader of our defense. I mean, we seen how the defense took a step back last year whenever Grady Jarrett got hurt. I mean, they were still effective, but they were definitively a top 10 defense last year. What happens if Jesse Bates gets hurt? What happens if you have significant injuries like you did? When was that? 2018? Whenever you have like significant injuries, for us to say, hey, it's guaranteed that by week 13, it's going to be a situation where we know we're going to be in the playoffs. We can't guarantee that. It could easily be one of those situations where we say, hey, you know, guys get hurt earlier in the season, they rehab and come back. For example, you know, Grady Jarrett, we don't even know Grady Jarrett's 100%. Grady Jarrett might be working his way up and he might be 100% later on in the season. So he's good whenever the time is right. But with that being said, we can't guarantee that the Atlanta Falcons will be 12-1, 11-2 by week 13. Can't guarantee that. Well, 11-1 because bye week is week 11. I'm week 12. So 11-1 or even 10-2 by the time we get to week 13. We legitimately can't guarantee that. So that's another reason why I'm feeling like we can't just write it off as a guarantee that's the case. Shouts out to Millie Mills. He says, Low, we possibly can if we handle our business in the division. We could pretty much have it wrapped up by week 13. Now you got a point there, Millie Mills, because the thing is that if I'm not mistaken, we'll play our first 5 division games by week 10. So we'll pretty much know as far as like in the division where we're going to be at. So I mean, you legit got a point there. So I guess I can agree with you in that regard. Now, somebody commented earlier. They said, "Look, just because y'all have a mediocre quarterback, first of all, Kirk Cousins is not a mediocre quarterback. Derek Carr is a mediocre quarterback. I mean, let's keep it a book. Daniel Jones is a mediocre quarterback. You know, I mean, we can't say Kirk Cousins is mediocre. He's a top 10 quarterback. Last year, on pace to have an MVP caliber season and throw for 5,000 yards. And he did not have the weapons that he has with the Atlanta Falcons. Think about it. That team didn't even have a running game. They thought Alexander Madison. They thought Alexander Madison was going to be the next Dalvin Cook because he always stepped up whenever Dalvin Cook got hurt. Alexander Madison showed his true colors. His true colors shining through. This is one of Coach Ronnie's favorite songs. True colors. Coach Ronnie, you heard that? How was it? Okay, well, good. Okay. Coach Ronnie said 3 for everybody that's in the chat. She ain't on, but Coach Ronnie said she wanted to make sure that she gave y'all a 3. But yeah, John Higgins, he says, Big Low Country, what's happening with you? And Coach Ronnie, how y'all doing tonight? Just getting in, what's cooking on the show tonight? I'm basically asking, is it one of those cases where are Atlanta Falcons fans' expectations too high? Will we know if it's one of those cases where we go by week 13, we know that we're going to the playoffs? I mean, I don't know if that's the case. Coach Wallace says, Coach Lowe, if we're going to be in the playoffs by week 13, that means that we'll be 5-0 in the division with the Panthers left to play in the last game of the regular season. Look, if that's the case, I would definitely take it. But William Amy said he was replying to the question that I asked earlier. What happens if Jesse Bates go down week 4? He said season over. That's a no-brainer. I can't say that. I can't say that the season be over. I mean, you still got Richie Grant. And, we don't know. They're giving Richie Grant another chance. And, I mean, we don't know what DeMarco Helms could be. Mind you, Jesse Bates said himself that he doesn't think Terry's finished cooking yet. So there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. But yeah, I mean, I legit can't, I can't say that it'll be over, but I can tell you one thing: it'll be a lot tougher to verify that we're gonna be making the playoffs by week 13. It'll be a whole lot tougher to verify that. Imani says, y'all Falcons fans really think y'all getting 10 plus wins? Imani, can you please put in the chat who is your team, Imani? I just want to hear who your team is. Please let us know. Philip Crawford says, Low, where do you think the Tampa Aints and the Pity Cats will stand at week 13? If they're at 6 wins and we're at 9 wins, then we're good. We're good as golden. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can see it being one of those situations where Kirk Cousins, I'm sorry, not Kirk Cousins, Baker Mayfield could be having a really, really good regular season and flame out in the end like he normally does. He's like a shooting star. Uh, Dante Space says, Big Low Country, you're a Saints fan, needs to make a remix theme song for our Falcons if we sweep them this year from the Ain't things. Look here, man. You ain't never finna get them to do that. You ain't never gonna get them boys to do that. Look, you get that. I had to pull teeth to get Q to read the script that I gave him. Man, I need to pull that up because that was beautiful. After the Saints lost to the Falcons, that first game that first game last year. Free falling. That's look. That's what's going to happen, and that's what we're hoping happens to the other teams in the division. We hoping they're free falling. Dun, 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 dun. Smitty, he took it old school with that. Free falling. Dang, boy, that boy sounding. Boy, I need to listen to more R&B in my free time. I'm normally listening to the Dirty Boys and Pastor Troy and 8 Ball and MJG, Young Dro, but I need to listen to more. I need to listen to more 90s and early 2000s R&B in my free time because, man, I'm feeling good. Hey, Coach Ronnie, Demetrius says 3. You heard me, Coach Ronnie? Okay, yeah. She just replied with a 3 back to you. Coach Keelan says, what's up, Coach? Ask Coach Ronnie, does she prefer Cindy Lauper or Phil Collins' version of True Colors? Hey, Coach Ronnie? Keelan said, do you prefer Cindy Lauper's or Phil Collins' version of True Colors? You have to go with Phil Collins over Cindy Lauper?
Yeah, she good, but I just like, I don't know, somebody's tone. I like that. He sings it very earnestly. Like he just means it. He's just genuine about how he likes the True Colors.
Wow, Coach Ronnie, I'm judging you. Daggone. Trey Nelson says, Big Low, by week 5, we're going to let's go get ready. Okay, yeah, by week 5, you already know what time it is. Lock and low. Got our first Superman chat of the night. So Uncle Steve, I told you, like he can't help it. Like he must have had like a sixth sense. Yeah, I'm telling you. He must have had a sixth sense. He's like, man, somebody's singing good on YouTube. Let me go ahead and check on here. I keep yeah, like what's he says, title of the stream. Falcons fans scared straight. Wait a minute, what? The Big Low Country Store. Low killer folks hoping May. Wait a minute. Come on, man. Got me about to sell my season tickets. Like, wait, what? No, I ain't trying to do that. I ain't trying to do that, dog. I'm just saying, we can't put we can't put the cheese in front of the bread. We can't put the Kool-Aid in front of the sugar, right? Wait a minute. We can't put the sugar in front of the Kool-Aid. There you go. Can't put the sugar in front of the Kool-Aid. And I'm just saying, we gotta keep realistic expectations. But I do tell you one thing, I appreciate that. And don't be scared straight up. You can still be confident. Dun, da, da. That's a Superman chat. Shout out to Uncle Steve, man. Y'all make sure y'all check Uncle Steve out on YouTube. Great content. Great vibes. You can legitimately watch him and he's gonna talk about sports and just have you laughing the whole time with his great super chat song renditions. It's a good time. Great vibe. Mike Jenks in here. It says, what in the world, Bo? Falcons. Week 2. Oh, I'm sorry. He spelled out Eagles. Week 2. What's going on, Mike? I appreciate you, man. He always come by and show love. Dun, dun, dun. That's a Superman chat. Oh, man. I tell you what. Oh, yeah. Uncle Steve's in the chat. Uncle Steve's in the Hey, look, you know it's a party now. But I mean, so I just want to. Oh wait, Keelan said he liked the Phil Collins version. Dang, I'm judging both of y'all. So anyway, the fact of the matter is, I gave you some of my reasons, and I just want to go back and like let's look at the schedule one more time. And let's look at the schedule realistically when we're not, naked like Molly Mall trying to figure out, you know, how we're going to cover ourselves. We don't want to be naked like Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. You know what I'm saying? Like Molly Mall be all the time. So with that being said, we got the Dolphins, the Ravens, and the Jaguars for the preseason, and we ain't even worried about that. All right, so the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you something. If there's one thing that's going to happen, and y'all might think I'm joking. I might think I'm joking whenever I say this. Mark Cheney talking about could Field start week 1? Lord have mercy. I hope that doesn't happen, boy, because that's gonna be. Whew. But one thing that's gonna happen, Arthur Smith is gonna coach the game of his life. I'm just only in Atlanta. The first time for once in his life. Where's Uncle Steve at? We did for once in his life. Arthur Smith is gonna coach the game of his life. I'm just gonna put it on out there, and I'm gonna tell y'all that game is gonna be tougher than y'all think. Now I don't know if he's gonna run any triple reverses to the left tackle, to the extra left tackle that's lined up, offset in the offset eye. I don't know if he's gonna do that, but Arthur Smith is gonna coach the game of his life against us in Philadelphia. I mean, for that Pittsburgh game here in Atlanta. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it out there. Southside Tyler, he says, "Low, do you think the Steelers will use Justin Fields like the Aints use Taysom?" Look, I don't know. One thing I know about Arthur Smith, he's one of the most um creative. I can't, I can't. He's one of the most. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make my mouth say it. One of the most creative. He's one of the most creative play callers. He's one of the most creative play callers in the league. That's what they sold us on whenever we got him. So I mean, I'm gonna say that's a win, but I can't guarantee it. You see what I'm saying? It's one of those cases where it's not going to be as cut and dry as everybody think it is. And I've been telling you something. After I go through the schedule, I'm finna open up the chat and for folks to come on and we can talk about it. If I'm, because I don't want Uncle Steve to be like, I'm running scared straight. But I'm gonna say 1-0. I'm gonna say 1-0 by after week 1. Philadelphia Monday Night Football. Let me ask you something. When the last time we had a primetime game? When last time we had a Monday night game? Anybody, anybody know? Anybody know last time we had a Monday night primetime game? One thing that we got to remember is that the whole narrative is everybody says Kirk Cousins can't win primetime games. I don't believe that narrative necessarily, but one thing that I can tell you is that you got this young team in the Drake Londons, the Kyle Pitts, the Bijan Robinsons of the world who hadn't really had like a primetime Monday night game. Well, last time we had a resemblance of a primetime game when we went to London, when we were the only team that was on TV, we looked terrible. Now, Desmond Ritter, he's not in Atlanta anymore. But with that being said, I don't know if we're gonna win that Philadelphia game. I'm gonna say 1-1 right there. I'm gonna say 1-1. Then, we coming, we're coming home, we're coming home. We got the Chiefs. I mean, do we even have to say it? Do Do we even have to say anything about the Head and Shoulders bandit, the curly hair bandit over there? No, I mean, one thing that I can say, one thing that I can say is that the Atlanta Falcons were one of the first teams that started to learn how to defend the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know if y'all remember in that 2021 season, if I'm not mistaken, when we almost beat Kansas City. No, 2020 season when we almost beat Kansas City. Um, it was one of those cases where we knew how to play him. Now, I will tell you, Patrick Mahomes has evolved as a play. I mean, as a quarterback since then. He's learned how to check down and he's learned how to take his shots. And I mean, he's even learned how to move around the pocket a little bit better. But I feel like we can sneak that one. But I'm not gonna sit here and just say for a guarantee that we won't, that we won't win it. So I would say by the time you get to week 4, it's a strong possibility you could be 2-2. It's a strong possibility. Now, the whole goal of this conversation, can the Atlanta Falcons be able to say definitively that they'll be knowing that they're going to the playoffs by week 13? So by week 4, I'm saying 2-2. Thursday night football against Tampa Bay. What was I talking about earlier? If there's anybody who knows this offense, it's a few quarterbacks and a few players in this league. Number one, Matthew Stafford, Baker Mayfield, and you could venture to say Jared Goff if we keep it a buck. With that being said, on a short week after playing the Saints, you're gonna be in another primetime game against Tampa Bay. You could very well lose that. You could be 2-3 at that point in time. Then you got the Carolina Panthers. You could legit be 3-3. You could legit be 3-3 by the end. Seattle, you could be 4-3 by the end. I mean, who's scared of Gino? Tampa Bay, you got Tampa Bay again in Tampa Bay. Shouts out to the Rise Up Tour. I'm pretty sure we're going to be throwing some crazy parties in Tampa Bay. I mean, I can see a situation where you split with Tampa Bay. So 4-4 by the time you get there, you're at week 8. You're 4-4, 5-3. That's not the kind of squad that's very playoffs by week 13. Now, am I saying that hey, we're not going to the playoffs? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I don't know if we can verify that we ain't going to that we're going to the playoffs by week 13. You got Dallas Cowboys. I feel like you can get Dallas Cowboys. Of course, I'm gonna say you can beat the Saints because I'm trying to sweep the Saints. Easy. So by week 10, 6-4, 7-3. Somewhere around there. 6-4, 7-3. Denver Broncos, you never know what you're gonna get with Sean Payton. You don't know what you're gonna get with Sean Payton. By the time you get Denver and the Los Angeles Chargers, 8-5, 8-4. So you're telling me if you're 8-4 or if you're 9-3 that the San Francisco 49ers, Philadelphia Eagles, Detroit Lions, I mean, we could throw Tampa Bay in there too. You telling me that they're not going to be contending for that first spot, or that Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't going to be contending, or another team won't be contending for for uh the division crown? Like, look, I'm not on NFC roundtable, the NFC South roundtable, so I can show a little bit of doubt. But what I'm saying is that we can't guarantee that by the time we play the Chargers, that it's one of those cases where we're we're just stamping our ticket. I'm calling Jack Spade saying, "Hey Jack, have they? Do you know who I can contact about getting the playoff games? Getting some extra seats for the playoff game? Like, I can't sit here and guarantee that that's the case." Jack said, "Oh yeah, of course. We always throw a list. Oh yeah, you already know it, man." Uh, Kevin O'Connor, he says, "If we sweep the Saints and the Bucks, it's a wrap. Playoff bound. If we're a fifth, Bo. If we're a fifth, we'd all be drunk." Mark says, "I agree. If we could get to the bye week at 6-5, um, uh, or better, then we looking real good." And that's the thing. But once again, 6-5 or better. I mean, because and that's the Smitty's point, because Smitty's saying that the schedule after that, you got the Vikings, you got the Raiders, you got the Giants, the Washington Commodores, and the Panthers. After that, the schedule is looking kind of, in the words of Kobe, SAWFT, soft. But ain't that kind of what happened last year? I mean, I'm just saying, like, ain't that kind of what happened last year whenever we played the Arizona Cardinals, even with Desmond Ridder as the quarterback? Anybody else remember this? Like, that was supposed to be a gimme. They was a 1-win team. They just drafted Marvin Harrison. Anybody remember this last year whenever we played the Carolina Panthers in the thunder and rain? Yes, Smitty. I'm telling you, after that, them boys SAWFT South. But y'all remember we played Carolina Panthers in the thunder and rain. I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't really got to say. See, but does anybody remember that game? Because I remember watching that game with Jack Spade and um Uncle Steve and Coach Padre and not Coach Padre wasn't there, but he was there in spirit. Out of your Falcon Mind and JR and everybody else. I remember watching that game. That was a game we were supposed to win, and we didn't win it. Y'all remember whenever we played the Minnesota Vikings last year, and Josh Dobbs, he just walked into the building, and it was one of them situations where we thought that was gonna be a dub because he didn't know the snap count, and they walked out there with a win. So look, just because it's one of those cases where it looks good on paper, it looks good on this schedule right here, that don't mean that that's how it's finna go down. And I wish that wasn't the case, because the thing is that the same way, we're the same way we're looking at it as wins, and that's the same way in past seasons we would look at teams where we actually upset and think, yeah, man, if we can get this dub, man, we're gonna be in there. Every week, every team is trying to win. I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's the point that I'm trying to make. Every year, every week, every season, every team is trying to win. Ain't nobody just finna lay down and roll over for you. I put the link in the chat, so if anybody wants to come on and let me know if I'm being unreasonable, or if I'm being, if it's a situation where I'm, you know, I need to look at it from a different point of view, or from a different. But all I'm saying is we just can't get out over our horses. We gotta tie our shoes before we start walking, guys. We can't just sit here and say, hey man, by week 13, we know we're gonna be in the playoffs, because we legit don't know what's gonna happen. We legit don't know what's gonna happen. So I put the link in the chat if anybody wants to come on, chop it up with Old Country Boy for a little bit. And let me know if I'm being unreasonable, or if I'm, you know, or if I'm making any sense. So I want to ask the chat again what they think. If you feel like we're a lock to go to the playoffs by week 13, put a 4 in the chat. If you feel like it's one of those cases where that's not gonna happen and we ain't going to the playoffs by week 13, put a 5 in the chat. I just want to know what everybody's thinking. I just want to know what everybody's thinking. Got Will Amy in here. What's going on, Will? Hello, Will. Okay, Will, I can't hear you, so let me know whenever you good. Jack in here. What's going on, Jack?
Yeah, ain't going. Oh,
Okay, I can hear you now, Jack. You going in and out on me before. Well, but he just went out on me. All right, so I said if you feel like it's one of those cases, and I apologize, can somebody remind me? Coach Rona, she normally have me. I say, if you feel like it's a lot that we're going to the playoffs, put a 4 in the chat. But if you feel like it's one of those cases we're not going to the playoffs, put a 5 in the chat by week 13. If somebody could clarify that for me, I would greatly and definitely appreciate it. Also, got my homeboy Mark in here. Mark, what in the world, bro? What's going on with you?
What in the world, Lo? What's going
Hey,
on, man?
man, we trying to make it, man. We trying to make it. What's going on? What you am I being too far fetched in thinking that it's a lock that by week
Nah, I
13
mean,
we'll
hey,
make
we've
the
been burnt
playoffs?
before, man. We've been burnt before. So, I mean, like you said, with these Falcons and our luck, you can't look at any win and really have confidence that we're just going to go out there and win, you know. But, I mean, who knows? After the first 3 weeks, man, we'll have a good idea, you know, if we should be able to win, you know, against Carolina. Should we roll over Carolina? We probably can roll over Tampa, you know, if we build up some momentum. You know, can we beat up on the Saints? You know, again, first 3 weeks, we'll have a good idea. We'll definitely know after the first 6 weeks.
Man, those first 6 weeks, like that's gonna be if we could be over 500 those first 6 weeks, that'll be man, boy, that would be a blessing. That'd be a
Yeah.
blessing. Jack, you want to hear both? Jack must be over there practicing his golf swing. You know, Jack think he Tiger Woods now. He got him. He got the same golf clubs. Well, I actually got the same golf clubs he did. He had them first. But yeah, he's
Mm.
probably over there in his backyard practicing his golf swing. But yeah, I feel like it's by week 17, by week 16, at the best, you'll find out for sure,
Yeah.
or you'll have an idea. I mean, how often does that happen? By week
Yeah.
13, you know, like that don't even happen on Madden.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially with our first half of the season, we're not going to have that luxury to just know our fate. If anything, we'll know kind of going in the wrong direction because by week 12, we had already played 5 division games. So, you know,
Yeah.
maybe that's what people are leaning on when they're saying week 12. They're saying, okay, we'll be 5-0 in the division. And if you 5-0 in the division, you're probably in a good spot to win the division. So, I mean, I can see that perspective, but like I'm with you, man. We're not going to know to the end of the season. You know, you look at a game like the Chargers. I don't know how we're going to play against Jim Harbaugh. The Washington and Dan Quinn and Jaden Daniels. I don't know about that. You know, you just don't know.
I mean, you're right. See, I didn't even think about the whole Dan Quinn effect. It's like if there's anybody who knows, you know, this cover 3 shell defense, it's Dan Quinn. You know, so it's like I mean he's gonna know how to attack it. I mean it's like those are
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Those are the kinds of things that we got to keep into consideration. Jack, you there, Bo?
I'm here, man. The ops tried to stop me, man. You got Panther fans in the chat, Saints fans in the chat. They try to get me, man. They
Man,
try to shut down my network, man.
what in the world, Bo? Goodness gracious,
Oh man,
Dang,
what's good though?
God,
What's good? Nah, but
man.
shout out to Mark too as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. You know I love talking Falcons football with you all. So Mark, you're on the podcast tomorrow night, man. So we get a chance to sit back and chop it up about the Falcons. But Country, you've been on point tonight, man. You are on a roll, man. The singing, the facts. You bringing A1 content, man. I must say, man, 100, man. You keep it 100,
Hey,
brother.
hey, well look, yeah, I apologize because I know that it's one of those cases where, you know, we know that you're the most optimistic Falcons fan in the
Sheesh.
world. You know,
I believe in my team. I believe in my team. 24/7. You know, but then again, I see the rights and the wrongs. I see the ups and downs of the team too as well. But I believed in this team when we had the quarterbacks that we didn't want here, and then we had quarterbacks that we did want here. So you know, it's a little bit uh, difficult now. But hey, man, we go ahead and we're gonna win it this year. We're gonna win it all. We're gonna win it all this year, man.
yeah, I mean, so one thing that a lot of people don't know is that I remember whenever like Jack had a realization that Arthur Smith wasn't the guy. Like we were together, and he had a tear in his eye. You know, and
Sheesh.
it was one of those situations where it's like the whole time he made the excuses. You
I
know,
did.
he made the excuses for Desmond Ritter.
I
You know,
did for Mariota too. For Mariota
yeah,
too. You know,
it
I was
was
the
No.
fan. I was the fan showing up to every game, man. Every tailgate, every practice. Whenever they had open practices, I'm just one of those fans. But I see what we got now with Kirk Cousins, man. You know, and I don't want fans to sit here in the chat and say, "Wait, you said we're winning it all this year?" I think we're going to win it all in the next couple of years. I give it a 5-year run. The same like Raheem's contract. I think we're gonna get a Super Bowl within these next 5 years, right? I'd love to get it this year in New Orleans, but I do see this team, forming up to be a Super Bowl contender eventually. We got to get over the first hump, which is making it to the playoffs and winning the division and having a winning record, which is possible. But I see this team doing big things, man. I really do.
Well, I mean, so I also remember when Jack, whenever we were in London, and that's whenever Jack gave up on Desmond Ritter.
Sheesh.
So basically, it's like the point that I'm making is that it's like you talking about someone who is undying. I mean, he has undying optimism, and I mean he's acknowledging that. Hey, I mean, let me ask you, Jack. Do you feel like by week 13 we'll know if the Falcons will make the playoffs? Right,
Shit,
what?
by week 7, I got my playoff tickets, man. By week 7. Week
Who we
7,
play
man.
week 7?
I don't know, but I know I'm gonna have my playoff tickets in hand.
Week 7 we play the Seahawks.
The Seahawks. The way I'm looking at the schedule,
See?
it is pretty tough if you're looking at some of the teams who, we got some good offensive teams, we got some good defensive teams we got to play early. And then, like Smitty said, towards the back half of the schedule, it's like it's a landslide. We should be able to make our run into the playoffs. But I'm hoping going into that. Let's see, it's New Orleans, and then we go to New Orleans, and then we go to Minnesota. So I'm hoping in between that New Orleans, Minnesota, week 12 by week 13, that around that area, that we do see that we are going to the playoffs, because that's what outrunning the South is. Outrunning the South that Raheem is speaking of means there is no week 16. This team has to lose and this team has to win and we have to win. Nah, F that. That week 13, week 14, week 15, you already know that you might even be playing Michael Penix against the Panthers at the end of the season, because of the fact that you're gonna win the division. You want to outrun the South, right? I think somebody on the podcast mentioned it the other night, where a loss or two around week 14 or week 15 won't hurt you, right? That's how the Chiefs are playing it. That's how the 49ers are playing it. That's how other teams are playing it. So it is not far-fetched to look at, can we outrun the South? Can we really look at week 13, 14 and say we're going to be in the playoffs? Yes, because there are teams that are doing it right now. I continue to say about Kirk Cousins' conversation at the Masters. Falcon fans, go back and listen to Kirk Cousins at the Masters when he talked to NBC Sports. He was focused on getting his team as good as the 49ers. That's where his focus is, to be as good as a team that's been consistent. I know they haven't won the Super Bowl in the past couple years. I understand. But they have been consistent in the NFC, so they know in week 14, week 15, they are going to the playoffs. They know if they get past the divisional playoff game, they are going to the NFC Championship game. That's where Kyle Shanahan has that team. I know we hate him, but that's where Kyle Shanahan has that team. And I think with Raheem, I think with Zach Robinson, I think with what's my boy on defense, Jimmy Lake, who hasn't even called a snap yet, and then Jerry Gray, some of the people around him, Dave Huxtable, and of course, you have your players, your Jesse Bates, your Grady Jarrett, your AJ Terrell, your Kyle Pitts, your Kirk Cousins. Man, this team is built for something special, and it's going to happen now, or it's going to happen in the next couple of years. But I'm here for it. I'm gonna be in my seats, home or away.
First of all, Jack, you ain't gonna be in your seats.
Shit.
Because the reason why I say that is Jack has club seats. He don't sit down. He never sit down in the seats before. He always standing
Well,
there.
I can tell you right now, and I'm being honest, I can tell you right now, Falcon fans, I've been a season ticket holder for a long time. I still have never been to my seats in the Benz. I've never been in my seats. I've seen them, but I've never sat in my seats for a game.
See,
I'm usually doing like real fan stuff, like real fan behavior. Like, it's real, bro. It's real.
Now, Mark, you made a good point earlier, because whenever you said, maybe the point what somebody made in the chat, whenever they were like, by week 10, if we're 5-0, we could kind of know, what direction that we're going in. If we're 5-0 and the other three teams are beating each other up, like,
Right.
is it one of them situations where we kind of know exactly then?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds good. Jack's optimism, I love it, because I think this year he can be right. It's almost like you're betting over and unders. Eventually, you're gonna be right, just cause. But it kind of reminds me of Desmond Ritter's everyone's optimism for Desmond Ritter this time last year, where it was like, oh, he can do this, he can do that, and it's like, okay, these things can happen, but at the same time, it's also very unlikely. Again, we're talking about 2 new play callers, a new head coach, a new quarterback. You know, Jesse Bates just learned the defense last year. Now he has to learn a new defense this year. I think this team can be successful, but if we were to hit the ground running, and we look like we're gonna make the playoffs by week 12, that's an extremely good ball club, and we're really banking on the defense taking that next step as well. And I don't really think, I mean, do y'all feel like we've added enough defensively when it comes to coaching or with players? Have we added enough to feel confidence that the defense is going to improve?
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, as far as defensively, it's like the names that we added. Like, are they sexy? No. Like, I mean, they're not names that's gonna, you see on Madden and you're excited to play with them. But it's one of those cases where I know that all of them are guys that can get their job done. Like I mentioned earlier, I know David Onyemata is one of the best run defenders, one of the best run defending defensive tackles in the league. I know that Grady Jarrett, when healthy, is one of the best, attacking defensive tackles in the league as far as shooting the gap and going. I know Arnold Ebiketie. I know he's going to make sure he plays that outside shoulder and not get caught up, even no matter how much no matter how much of a size difference the matchup is. But I mean, so like I said, I mean, are there Joey Bosa's or Nick Bosa's or Aiden Hutchinson's? No, there's not. But who's to say that Braylon Trice isn't one? Who's to say that Brandon Dorless isn't a Von Miller? Like, so I mean, I think that's the beauty of this season, Mark. It's one of those cases where, there's a whole lot of unknowns, but all of the signs are pointing to the positive. And ATL Hometown Falcons also says, I mean, Zach Harrison will also be better. People forget about Zach Harrison,
Right.
Yeah.
And you're in that unknown system right now where, it looks like, Kadarius Street, I believe he chose Campbell's numbers. I don't know if Campbell's going to be coming back. So, it's a situation where this might be the team. Clark Phillips might be your 2. You might be seeing a lot more of D. Alford on the field this year. You might be seeing a lot more of fans want Richie Grant out the building, but guess what? Richie Grant might have to step it up in a major way this year. There's a lot of unknowns. But one thing I can say is that there's a lot of players around those unknowns that make me confident. Grady Jarrett makes me confident in this team. David Onyemata makes me confident in this team. Jesse Bates, Jake Matthews, Chris Lindstrom, even Kirk Cousins. And I was wishing on a star with Desmond Ritter. I ain't gonna lie. With Desmond Ritter, I was.
Wait a minute. What you doing, Jack?
Wishing on a star.
Okay.
With Desmond Ritter.
Good.
I'm just doing my best. I'm trying to get that Uncle Steve. I was on the podcast here tonight. I got to step it up, Mark. I'm trying to get to 1,000. I'm trying to get to 1,000 here.
Yeah,
so if I got to sing a couple notes, I will.
Right.
But for me and this team, there's players that's making me as a fan believe in what could have happened if Desmond Ritter would have been playing better. I mean, we was really one sack away from the playoffs. Who knows what would have happened if we would have made the playoffs? Would there be a Kirk Cousins here? It could have been Desmond Ritter going to another season. If we would have brought Dobbs down or beat the Cardinals or beat the Titans, it'd be a different situation. But this is the situation that we're in right now. Kirk Cousins, Michael Penix, Bijan, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, those players that we just named a couple minutes ago, and then the unknowns that we're all worried about. But I'm all for the coaching in Raheem. I believe in the system. I'm a ticket holder. I'm a diehard fan. But I know when we lose, we lose. But we got to work to get better. But like Eric Parker says, you don't practice to lose. You don't practice to lose. And this team is going to get out there and practice to win. I heard JR from Pound for Pound earlier talking about they have I guess a TV at practice that shows the all 22 kind of play that they just ran, and they can go over and talk about it in coaching. I've never seen that before with some of the other coaches, but apparently if that's what they're doing, it's a new system, something new that's out there. Maybe not having the fans at camp is what they want. I don't know, but I'm all for what is going to happen this season. Yes, it's a little tough on the schedule, but we knew the teams that we were playing before the dates. So it could have been the Raiders first, and then and then the Vikings, and then the Commanders. But that's not the way they shaped it. They gave us the Steelers, they gave us the Eagles, they gave us the Chiefs. So if we can come out of that situation 2-1. Some fans said, hell, if you can come out 1-2, they'll feel good. But
I
for
ain't
me,
mad at it.
it's you got to win. You can't go 0-3 in that situation because that's a
No,
bad look.
hard
That's a bad
times,
look.
hard times.
They're
Also,
hard times.
we got Will Amy. He's sliding through. What's going on, Will? We also got Superman chat. JJ the Great said Jack Spade trying out for Southern Silk. Dun da da. That's a Superman chat.
Wowzers.
So, Will, what's going on with you, Bo?
What's going on, bro?
Man, we trying to
Will,
make
what's
it,
up,
man.
Will?
What's
We
up, Jack
trying to
Spade,
make
man?
it.
Uh,
So yeah. So, do you feel like we will know definitively if this Atlanta Falcons team will be going to the playoffs by week 13?
Absolutely. Like what Jack Spade saying, man. I think we work hard this off season to be a top team. We got 4 primetime games, and I know it's a high expectation, but I really think they really did that. Raheem Morris, not tired of like the fans to be public, like how y'all was last year, you and Jack Spade, But I think, man, the defense got to pick up this year. The offense gonna put points on the board. It's just up to the secondary. AJ Terrell, Clark Phillips the third, D. Alfred. You look at the press conference, the dudes, they know they got to step up. I'm gonna go with Richie Grant. He got to step up this year, but he got to prove me his coverage skills, man, because that was a lack. I know Raheem Morris put a chip on his shoulder and telling him like, "Hey, I got to be ready." But for me, man, Richie Grant, man, it's time for you to step your game up, man. If you don't, starting preseason games, trying to improve your coverage skills, I think Callaway will take a spot, man. Because I'm tired of
Mm.
inconsistent, man. I'm really tired of it, man. Because I don't think Richie Grant is going to have the safety spot guaranteed locked up. You got to go out there and earn it. And for us, man, we got to start on the ground. We got to have our defense with our secondary. We got to get some interceptions. AJ Terrell, I know you. Congratulations to your newborn baby, but you got to step up, man. I mean, JC Base Story can't do it all by itself. So I'm just being
That's
real
real.
though. Our secondary, we got to get some interceptions and get the ball back to our defense. And I say we could beat Philly because they got AJ Brown, Devontae Parker, but they lost a Q center as a Jason Kelsey. That's a big blow for them. So if we put points on the board and our defense get turnovers and our offense, Kirk Cousins put us in the best position, use Talijah in the run game and put Bijan Robinson in the slot. Man, we could be I say we be 12-5 this year, man, because I think we could lose to Kansas Chiefs and probably split one with Tampa. But I think we lose to Tampa part of the road game. But I think week 5 or week 6 we got to win them games early, man.
So,
Okay.
and here's the cool thing about this, right? Everybody in the chat and everybody listening, country, like Raheem seems to be comfortable with what's in the building. If he wanted to go get Justin Simmons that's available, or Witherspoon, or some of these other guys that's still available, he would go do it. They would make the moves to go do it. So, barring that they make a situation where they bring in one or two guys in the next couple of months or weeks, which moves will happen, things happen, players get cut, it happens. But I don't see them making any too many major splashes right now. I think Raheem is comfortable with what they have. I think the coaching staff looks to be comfortable with what they have. But if that's the 90 that's going into camp, keep Falcon fans pay attention to that 90 because they're going to make a 53 out of it, and that might be your playoff team. That might be your division winning team, right? So that's what we got. That's part of the unknowns of being a fan at this time because we haven't got on the field yet. But a lot of us look towards the future, like the Falcons did with Penix. They look toward the future, and that's how we can say 12-5. That's how we can say more than 10 wins because we're looking toward the future. So it's the same situation with the Falcons and Michael Penix, how they look toward the future. Like you gotta think about the now and then. So for me, like it's good. It's a tough road ahead, but I
Yeah.
like what is in front of us. I like the team that's in front of me as a fan.
But I mean, it's like you make a good point there, Jack, because it's like you talk about the Atlanta Falcons looking towards the future. That's something that we haven't done for a while, and feel free to chime in on this, Mark. But like over the last few years, we've literally been living paycheck to paycheck. Um, when it comes to personnel, we haven't put nothing in a savings account. We haven't invested in anything. We just been going paycheck to paycheck, filling the needs that we have. That's why whenever we went off and got a Michael Penix, everybody's like, "Wait, what? We're not used to this," because that's the thinking of the person with the broke mentality. I mean, I hate to say it. The person
Yes.
with the broke mentality, they say, "Hey, no, like no, we gonna go ahead and spend this. We need to get what we need instead of getting what we need in the future. Go ahead and stockpiling things for the future. So whenever you go off and you get 3 straight defensive linemen, everybody's like, wait, why aren't you getting a cornerback? Why aren't you getting a safety? It's like you're stockpiling for the future, and that kind of shows me that this team is looking at winning now and in the future. I don't know, like tell me what you think about that, Mark.
Yeah, I think y'all both are, y'all saying all the right things. I mean, I can see it happening, and I think that's just what where we're at in this process in this off season, man. I think it's a good time to be optimistic. And I think the cool thing about it too is I think Jack's kind of spoke on this a little bit. We talked about this too low with Dan Quinn. I think that's what I kind of feel out of Raheem is that positivity. He's having that positive attitude, and with that, anything is possible. So I think that's one reason why we can't look to the future is because of the guy that's leading us, the guy that's leading us to the promised land. We can say, you know what, he's gonna figure it out. So
I mean, I mean,
hey,
let, I mean, let me ask y'all on the panel and everybody in the chat. After you watch multiple press conferences and interviews with Arthur Smith, did you feel like he could lead you into the future?
No
Hey,
sir.
y'all just put a yes or no in the chat, and everybody in the panel, like, y'all let me know. Did he feel like a guy that's going to lead you into the future and is going to be the coach for this team for the next 15 years?
Um, that
I mean,
was that was
I
tough.
know that's your boy Jack because I know you was getting beignets for him, at 1 o'clock in the morning in New Orleans. But
It
he's
wasn't
gone
one.
now, so you can
It
speak.
wasn't 1 a.m. It was around
Oh,
like
okay.
7:30.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. My bad, my bad. I mean, I know that's your boy, so this.
Nah, it was Arthur Smith. I was cool with him. You know what I'm saying? Kind of. I wasn't his best friend or anything, but for fans that didn't like Arthur Smith, I mean, I can see why. Same like Dan Quinn. But when you start losing, you're gonna lose the respect of the fan base. If Arthur Smith was winning, everybody's happy. But it didn't happen in that situation. But I think Raheem right now, for the city of Atlanta, for the Falcons, for what they have going forward, I think everybody's kind of they're really grabbing onto what Raheem is saying right now. He keeps talking about home. I've mentioned that before. He keeps saying home. Keeps talking about 2016 and getting that feeling back, bringing a playoff game to Atlanta. Like I heard that from Raheem like since day one. You know what I'm saying? And he continues to preach about it. And you can see the respect that him and Terry have for each other too. I think it's a little bit tighter than him and Art. But for me,
that's clear.
I think Raheem has the talk. He definitely knows how to grab the attention of people in the room. I've been hearing about it from a lot of the media when he walks in the room, how he just lights up the room. But he has that passion to coach football and also be a player's coach. And Arthur Smith, I don't think had that with a lot of the players. So it's a new era. But also, I do want to point out, country, we don't have a situation like how the Bears and the Browns had. Remember those fans that would like cross out their quarterbacks like the name on the back of the jersey and just write in another name because they was going through like a quarterback situation.
Well, look, we starting now. Like,
We're getting close to it, but we hope with
yeah,
Kurt and Penix that we can put an end to it. They had 2 years of it and they tried to put an end to it. The Browns and the Bears and some of those teams, they were going through that for like years.
yeah,
Like the Jets too as well. They were going through it
yeah.
for a long time. So I think for Falcon fans, you gotta
Offense.
feel happy that there's a quarterback for now in the future.
Yeah, I mean that's true. That's true. Um, Let me see. And what you think, Will? I mean, do you think Arthur Smith was?
Man, Arthur Smith, man, he was a liar, man. You could tell the press conference,
Sheesh.
like since your wife said that Arthur Smith wasn't the guy, and he wasn't. It's like he was trying to play like he was Bill Belichick. Like, who are you? Or the fan base was like, oh, they toxic. You have to prove something. Like, First year you said that we was going to I understand you said we was rebuilding. In the second year we had duct tape, but in the third year you say you were gonna take us like I'm gonna win 20 plus games. We're gonna be the playoff range. You ain't improve a fly. The past concept was inconsistent. Then you had Marcus Mariota that didn't left quit the team. You put Desmond Ridder in the fire. Oh, this our starting quarterback. Like you could tell he didn't really care for the media. He didn't care. He's the one the paycheck. It just keep his behind say basically. And Raheem Morris, he has ups and downs, but he learned from his experience and hold himself accountable. I love Raheem Morris when he say I'm gonna hold everybody accountable on the team. And you didn't hear that leadership that Arthur Smith had. Like you see like Dan Campbell, he talked to these players. He get on their ass if they're not doing their job right, and that's what you want for a head coach to do. Arthur Smith wasn't that guy. He was trying to be cute, think he was Raheem Nelson, and the defense carried us all year. So, like I
It
said, I
really
like
did.
Raheem Morris doing. And for us for the season, man, if our pass rush get consistent, it's a lot time lean on the secondary, we'd be good, man. It's just like I said, our offense will keep us in the games. Just our defense got to step up. And I think I'm gonna be real with y'all. I think Lorenzo Carter will be cut, and who else on this roster might be cut. Don't be surprised, y'all. I don't see Richie Grant starting. That's strong safety, man. But I'm gonna let y'all out, man. I see y'all
All
in the
right, well,
week 2 game. Y'all hold it down. I'll be in the group chat, man. Listen to
all
y'all
right,
boy. One love.
definitely.
Hey, shout out Will.
Hey, they're saying that Helm's getting first team reps.
I heard,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I heard he got a lot of snap
heard,
counts with the first team.
and the crazy thing is that like that the same time he was getting all those snap counts, Jack, I couldn't get in contact with Jack on the phone. Him and Jack and Marco Helms look eerily alike. I think Jack
Sheesh.
to
Not
Marco Helms.
twin.
Where have you
What's
been?
up, twin? No,
But
we took a picture at camp. Mario, there was the Mario Scott kept yelling at, hey, Helms, come over here and meet your twin. Come over here and meet your twin. And then Helms comes running over there, like, and then Mario says, y'all get together. Y'all stay, like he's somebody's parent. Like, y'all get together. Y'all get close, man. Hold on. Let me take the picture. Hold on. Stand right there. Jack
Right.
smile. I'm like, Mario, what you doing, man? Like, look, y'all look like twins, don't y'all? I'm
shouts out
like,
to
man.
Mario.
Big shout out to Mario, man. But big shout out to William Amy too, man. He gets signed up for the Rise Up Tour fan club. He's going to Philly.
Oh,
He's
okay.
going to Philly, and he's already like, Jack, where you sitting at? Because I'm over there with you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So we deep in Philly right now. We got a lot of people that's heading out there. So it's gonna be a great weekend. The Monday Night Football game is gonna be lit. But big shout out to William Amy, man. He's ready for Philly. That's the first away
Hey,
game. We outside, man. We
we
outside.
outside. Look, man. We're gonna be going to a lot of places. It's crazy because it's like we were talking about all the optimism and everything. All the things that we listed. We talked about how you have a new coach with new energy. You talk about how we feel like the defense could be better. We talked about how we feel like the offense could be better. With all that being said, I still don't feel like we're going to be able to guarantee. I hate to sound like a broken record.
I mean, 12 wins. Sheesh.
I just don't see it, man.
Hold on, let me send the StreamYard link to a guy that thinks we're gonna win all the games. I can send a
Okay,
link to him
yeah,
right
send it
now.
to him. Jay Bird's in the house. What's going on, Jay Bird? What in the world, Bo?
Yeah, I just got a bad echo, but I'm glad to be here for a second.
Definitely, man.
Can y'all,
Definitely.
can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what's up, Jay?
Hello, Jay.
Cool.
Yeah. So
All
tell
right.
us.
So the only way I'm gonna be able to talk is if everybody be quiet because the echo is bad. So I got a few things to say. I got a few things. So I think at game 9 we're gonna know. I think I'm gonna know at game 9. But also our defense was ranked 11 last year, and we improved. We just backed up all the guys that were starters. And the 2 quarterbacks we got, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
He sold.
Yeah, but look, because here's the deal. Kirk Cousins, I hope he don't get hurt. I hope he don't get hurt. If he does get hurt, we got a backup.
Yeah.
The best quarterback room in the NFL.
And I'm not worried about our offensive line. I'm not worried about our offensive line.
I'm not worried about the offense at all. It's just the defense. It's just the
So,
defense.
so let me ask you this, Jay. Do you feel like the defense is going to be better than it was last year? Because I know that we ended
I
11th.
I do.
You think we're going to get more sacks?
I'm gonna tell you. Here's the deal. They got that guy, the defensive end. They're going to get a lot more pressures, and they're going to get to rotate, so they're not going to be tired in the fourth quarter. So when that fourth quarter hits, we're going to be good.
Hey, I ain't mad at it, man. I ain't mad at it. One thing that a lot of people aren't realizing is that is the differences in the defenses that we have. Last year's defense, it was a whole lot more aggressive, a whole lot more man coverages. William Amy mentioned himself that, we need to get more picks. If we're running this cover 3 shell, it's going to allow our DBs to be looking forward with their eyes on the quarterback. So hopefully they'll get a chance to break on the ball a little bit more efficiently. And hopefully that if you're right in what you're saying, Jay, and we get more pressure on the quarterback, you're going to get a whole lot more interceptions too. Because, that cover 3, you get a whole bunch of overthrown interceptions in that defense.
Right. And another thing too, as well, is the like injuries. We don't want injuries to happen. I know they do happen in the NFL, and players get banged up all the time. But if this team is healthy, like that 2016 team, if this team is healthy, oh, they're gonna do some damage, week after week. I can see them clicking on just all cylinders. When you have your starters out there, it's just a little bit better. But once one guy goes down, the other guy goes down, then the backup goes down, and you got to sign the practice squad guy. Then this guy goes down. It really starts to change how you have your defensive outlook or your offensive outlook. But injuries, man. If you're 100% healthy, or at least healthy enough to have that run going forward in the playoffs where there's no major injuries to none of your players, I see something serious with this team.
Definitely. Now, Jay, before I let you go, could you tell me what you think your win-loss record is going to be for us this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna just keep it realistic. I'm gonna go 11-6. That's what I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 11-6 because we was 4 games, but a lot of those games were in the fourth quarter. Little stupid mistakes, an interception. Ritter rolled up to the left and threw an interception, throwing right. That was screwed up. Okay, so what I'm saying is, but now
On first down,
we got a confident quarterback. So I don't think he's still going to throw an interception. Probably, he's going to throw some, but not like that. Not like that. And we lost some games in the last drive.
Yeah.
We gonna go 11-2 at least.
Woo.
Sheesh. To
Man.
piggyback off what Jay just said about Kirk's, he throws interceptions. I mean, if you look at the touchdown to interception ratio, I haven't seen Kirk really have a season outside. I think it was like 2019, but every season he's always had 10 or 15 more touchdowns than interceptions. So if you're getting that from this type of offense, if you're getting a 4,000-yard passer, if you're getting a guy that's going to be on pace to break 5,000 yards by week 15, I mean, that's a playoff team. And if Kurt is throwing for 30 plus touchdowns, that defense should be getting those 3 and outs and getting teams off the field, because I'd hate to see a team where Kurt is balling out on an MVP level, but we're in third place. That's what I hate to see, right? Because if Kurt is balling out on an MVP level, or if he does, the team has to respond. Offense and defense and special teams and coaching, they have to respond to that quarterback. And Kurt has been known to put up numbers. And Falcon fans here that you play fantasy football, y'all want numbers. Kurt is the guy to help you out. But I'm just playing with that. But Kurt has been known to be an elite processor that they've been looking for. They had Matthew Stafford in LA. They have Kirk Cousins now. They're not scared to work with a veteran quarterback that knows the system. And that is what makes me feel confident of what Zach Robinson has. And that they talked about the Shanahan system and the McVay system, and Raheem keeps mentioning it. Well, some of those systems have won in the past, right? So let's just hope for the best here, Falcon fans.
Definitely. Hey, Jay, I appreciate you for coming on and chopping it up with us, Bo.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all. I gotta fix my audible because it is an issue.
Okay.
But I will get. Hey, I appreciate. Hey, look, I appreciate y'all content creators. I love Atlanta. I love the Falcons. I've been a fan for years, and I will get butt naked. I holler at y'all.
Well, make sure you just keep some socks on. We don't want you to get catch cold.
10-4, 10-4, 10-4.
Hey, Bo, y'all take it easy.
What in the world, Bo?
Keep the socks low.
So Carrie, she said, so you don't see 12 wins, Big Low? What in the world, Bo? What is your win-loss prediction? I missed it, maybe. So,
Hey, that's one time for the fan right there.
shouts out to Carrie. One time for the fan, representing the squad, always bringing the croissants.
What?
The croissants. But yeah, Carrie. Yeah. So I said 10-7, maybe 11-6, which is once again why I kind of go back to I just don't see us knowing for sure. Like I don't see myself calling Jack Spade on Thanksgiving weekend saying, "Hey, uh, you got it. You know where I can get some extra playoff tickets." I just don't see that. I just don't see it. But yeah. So I said 10-7. Or 11-6. I feel like there are some games that you just if everything could go perfect, it would be a perfect world. But I just don't see it being one of those situations where it's gonna go perfect every week.
Well, even with that record you just gave, that's to me, from what we've seen in the past couple seasons, that's playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, oh
In this
yeah,
division, that's playoffs.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, oh
You
yeah.
know, and don't forget, Falcon fans, the Saints have to play some of those teams too. The Panthers have to play some of those teams too, and so do the Bucks. So I know their fan base is looking at it like, man, we got to play the them. Oh man, we got to play them. Oh, we got to play them. Like it happens, man. Who's playing the Ravens in our division? Because that's a loss for them, right? So there's different
Tampa Bay.
situations where, Tampa Bay plays the Ravens.
Yeah,
Well,
Mm.
I mean, most Falcon fans know that, going into that game that the Ravens could possibly beat up on them pretty bad. Looking at the team, you talk about strength of schedule and strength of team. Well, look at the Ravens; they'll probably beat up on the Bucks. But then again, this team just has to get it together, be ready for week one. And it sucks that I can't be there for training camp, but hey,
yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
As a matter of fact, I seen Lisa. She put in the chat a little bit earlier, asking who's going to be in Buford and at the Benz for the practices. I know we're definitely going to be
Yeah,
there.
we'll definitely be there. I'll be there. We got a lot of people coming out there.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know how we're going to do it because normally we have like the training camp squad, at the front of the right by the field. But I'm sure we'll get
I'm
something figured
I'm
out.
treating it just as it is. I'm just gonna try to be there, as early as possible, and it's look like the old Friday Night Lights. Remember they used to have it back in Gwinnett. At, I think it was like South Gwinnett High School or something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. You just
Park-
do it in good net.
Yeah,
It is what it is, man. We're
definitely.
working on something special over there in Flowery Branch, so I guess we gotta wait.
You gotta wait, man. You gotta wait. Look here, man. Y'all want to let everybody know where they can find y'all at, Mark?
Yeah, man. Again, my name is Marquise Channing. Definitely appreciate you having me, Long. Always good to
Yeah, for
chop it up
sure.
with you, man. Y'all can find me at Mark Channing on YouTube, Instagram. Y'all can also find me on Bleach Report. I have a show next Wednesday on the Falcons. We're gonna be talking about actually getting down to that 53-man roster. So I'm gonna need y'all's help because I think that's kind of a hard assignment to do in May. And then y'all can also find me on Jack's show tomorrow. Forgive me for not knowing the time. I want to say 8 o'clock.
We at 8. We at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so we're 8 o'clock tomorrow. So again, there's a couple places y'all can find me.
Definitely, man. Jack, you want to let them know where they can find you at, Bo?
Yeah, one time for the fan. Every Sunday, every Wednesday at 8. Friday mornings, breakfast with one time for the fan at 9 a.m. And of course, we got the Rise Up Tour fan club for fans that's traveling on the road this year. If you plan on going to any away games, we put on a lot of these events and parties and meet and greets and mixers and stuff like that for fans that's traveling because we want fans to just have that Atlanta experience when you're on the road, right? So if you want to know more about the Rise Up Tour fan club, we've been doing it for 7 years. We got a big schedule this year for the road games. Philly, Carolina, Tampa, Minnesota, Vegas, New Orleans, Denver, and then we got to go back to New Orleans in February. So just imagine that. So Falcon fans in the chat, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. But yes, Mark is going to be on the show tomorrow night at 8. And then we have Chef Matt, who recently just went viral with the mop sauce video. So he's going to be on our show Friday morning at 9. And then we have DJ J Envy, the Falcons DJ from the Georgia Dome. And of course, he also DJs at the Benz too as well. So DJ J Envy will be with us on Sunday. But yeah, man, we lit, we live. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Country, I thank you for this time. Mark, I thank you for talking Falcons football with us again. Mark, it's like the third time this week we're going to talk Falcons football. And you're going to be on the podcast tomorrow, bro.
Hey,
This is great. This is great.
I'm coming out of hiding. I'm coming out of hiding, man.
Hey, this is what it is, man. It's the off season, but I just love talking Falcons. Country, know that. Like, as soon as you dropped that link in the chat, I didn't hesitate. I got on here ready to talk Falcons. Falcon shirt, Falcon socks, Falcon hat, Falcon pants, Falcon golf clubs, Falcon pillows, Falcon PlayStation 5 remote, Falcon TV remote, Falcon comforter, Falcon blanket, Falcon shower head, Falcon lotion too. I'm a diehard Falcon fan, I guess.
Well, I heard it sounded like you cranked that PS5 up.
Yeah, I got esports in a minute, man. I got my competitions coming up, so we got a big tournament tonight, and then league start at 12:30 tonight. So, for those that want to follow me on the stream, I'll drop it in the chat. It's Worldly One Gaming on Twitch, but we're lit, man.
Well, so I want to let everybody know. First time me and Jack played Madden, I got the best of him. A lot of people, and he wouldn't let me sleep until he got a chance to play me again. So I've been telling the story. I felt sorry for him. That's why I let him win, because I could tell it was like really irking his soul. That's why I didn't like really. That shows why that I'm a good friend.
I gotta remember this is Country's podcast. I'll tell the real story tomorrow night on my podcast. Tomorrow night at 8.
Y'all make sure that y'all. I put the link to the chat. I mean, I put the link for Mark's channel in the chat. I'm also putting the one time for the fan in the chat. Look, I need y'all to subscribe to one time for the fan, as well as Mark. One time for the fan, they have 899 subscribers. Make sure that you go subscribe. We're trying to help them get to 1,000 subscribers. So make sure that y'all hit that subscribe button. Go over there. Y'all heard all the things that he's doing. Great content. He has to. As a matter of fact, I might need to come on there and talk with the executive chef for Mercedes-Benz Stadium, because
executive chef Matt Friday morning. Come on, Country.
I got to, because he made this lobster mac and cheese in the suite one time. I was in the Cold Wing Club, and I always said I need to shake the man's hand who made that. Oh, let me tell you something. That thing hit different.
I tell you right now, that mop sauce video that he got going around is 54 million views right now. He has on the mop sauce video, and fans are going crazy in every single cooking channel and cooking chat. Like, who is this chef, and how dare he allow a mop to go on? They don't understand the culture of how culinary arts is. Sometimes there is a mop that actually is for barbecuing sauce, right?
Yeah.
And he's gonna explain it Friday, but it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be live. Country. Don't forget the Vegas party for fans traveling to Vegas. We already got the location secured. We talked to the people today, and they were like, they just said, "Don't worry, bring the fans." That's what they told us on the phone. Don't worry, bring the fans.
Okay.
So,
okay. Can I say anything about the party bus? I mean, my bad. I ain't mean. I wasn't supposed to say that about the party. But my bad.
Rise up to our fan club.
Look here, man. For everybody out there that don't know me, my name is Big Low Country. I'm just old country boy, former football coach that love to sit around and talk about sports. You could have been anywhere in the world tonight, but you're here with us, and we definitely and greatly appreciate that. I do want to let everybody know that's watching, just because we have Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, that doesn't mean anything. The journey is still ongoing. I don't know if you've seen it, Mark, but I am training to be the next Atlanta Falcons quarterback. I ran a blazing breakneck 40 last year, and yes, and I'm football has become my life. So just because Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix is there, media and everybody else is going to continue to ask questions whenever they see me come out with the rocket on my shoulder and throw 85 on the run.
Whoa!
Off his back foot? Did you see that?
Whoa, Mark, you don't know the story about my 80 on the run in the cold.
Against the wind?
Oh, it's crazy. But 85 on the run, always somebody
80.
one up you.
85, five up. 5 up. 5 up. Y'all make sure that y'all hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. You know, we definitely try to bring great content and everything. Jack, did you say that you sent the link to somebody who was going to tell us that we were going to win every game?
That's Eric Parker. I think he's probably in the chat watching the channel right now.
Oh, okay. Well, look,
you say
Eric,
next 40? Is that what it was?
Yeah. It was a breakneck 40. I had to go to the. I
got this wrote down over here, so tomorrow's podcast is going to be lit.
Yeah, I had to go to the orthopedist. I still can't turn my head because it's whiplash, and it was a breakneck 40. It was crazy. Feel free to check it out, Mark. Everybody in the chat, if y'all hadn't seen it, y'all feel free to check it out. Blazing breakneck 40. I actually pulled my hamstring. Seriously, it wasn't kayfabe. But appreciate it, y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming on and chopping it up with us.
What?
Thank y'all so much. And what in the world, Bo? BBL Drizzy. BBL.